Welcome back, sales managers. You know, in this subject, I want to dive into what I believe is one of the most important topics in all of management, no matter where you are in your career, and that is the topic of leadership. But more importantly, I want to help shape some leadership styles for those new sales managers that are just coming into their role. You know, I've learned over time that this doesn't happen overnight. It takes a little finesse, and you've got to kind of find your way to what is the best leadership style for your personality. You know, you've got to kind of decide, am I going to be a commanding leader or a visionary leader or a democratic leader, or am I going to be trending more towards a micromanagement style? So you've got to kind of think about where you've been. You were a salesperson before, and you were a specialist, and you were a doer, and you were compensated on your own personal results. Well, now we're going to move you over here to the sales manager role, where you're now responsible for a much broader picture, and it's a lot less about you and a lot more about the team. So one of the common transition issues that I see is when you get hired into this role, there's a real tendency to want to jump right out there and fix every one of your salespeople's challenges. Obviously, you're in that role and you're very, very familiar with it. But I want to encourage you not to do that, because that style of management is truly not sustainable. Thinking about what you're trying to do. You're trying to develop a team of franchise leadership salespeople that can think for themselves and solve their own problems. Basically, you want them to run autonomously on their own, and if you're out there trying to fix every one of their problems, as I mentioned, it's just not sustainable. So you're now hired at a higher, different level, right? You're responsible for training and coaching, and with that, you may be implementing policies and maintaining guidelines and setting up new goals. You may be acting as a liaison between upper management and the salespeople. So really, remember, it's no longer about you. You're now going to be rewarded on the success of the team and the success of each individual performing community and individual sales team member. Now, the beauty of this job is that you're going to get to watch your people grow and succeed as a result of your influence, your training, your inspiration, your motivation. This is really where the rewarding aspect of the job comes in. And I promise you, you're going to reach a level of satisfaction that comes with that goes well beyond what you experienced in the sales role. So I want to refocus you. I want to give you clear focus. Your job is the sales manager. Ultimately, your goal is to achieve the division sales and closing plan. That's your role, plain and simple. So, some of the common pitfalls and traps that I see a lot of sales managers fall into when they're new in the role. And one of them is this: oh, I want to be liked and I want to be loved by all my salespeople. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this is a real pitfall. Your goal as the sales manager is to be respected more than being liked. And I got to tell you, respect comes from being earned. It doesn't happen overnight, and it comes when you lead, inspire, and teach. When your salespeople feel that you are bringing some true value to them and you are making them better, that's where respect comes from. But I want to encourage you again, strive to be respected, not to be liked. And there are dangers that come with becoming too close to your sales team. You get too close to your team, let me tell you something. If you have to coach them or write them up for lack of performance, that can really put you in an awkward and uncomfortable position. So you're going to want to be maintaining more of an arm's length relationship with your sales team. I'm going to give you another leadership principle. People treat you the way you train them to treat you. Let me tell you what I mean by that. If you hold nobody accountable and you let them run helter-skelter, guess what? They're going to run all over you. So remember, people treat you the way you train them to treat you. There's going to be times where you're going to have those hard conversations, and I always try to remember that. It's like a kid. If I don't discipline them, then they're not going to have any structure, they're not going to have any rules, and they're not going to grow up to be great, mature adults. The same thing with your salespeople. There are times you feel like you've just got to be the parent or the babysitter, but you've got to have those hard conversations. Okay. Want to take a moment and help you understand the breed of people that you're going to be managing. These are salespeople, and if you really want to understand the breed, here's what you need to think about. Salespeople are typically extroverts. They're generally non-analytical people. They operate on attitude, they operate on feelings, they operate on instinct. These people are generally goal and achievement orientated. They thrive on recognition and competition. I will tell you, salespeople are generally not project-based or data-based. They're generally people-based. So if you're looking for a motivator, I can tell you from experience, they generally are going to respond better to a carrot than they are to a stick. Another thing you're going to want to remember about salespeople, this is a pay performance job, and they are responsible for their own performance. The reason I'm sharing with this, I want to make it cut and dry. Not every salesperson is going to make it in their role. So if you have to have those hard decisions and coach somebody out, remember they're hired on a commission basis, and if they're not performing, they are responsible for their own results. Okay, as you're finding your way around trying to define your management style, I want to encourage you to be mindful of too much of it. Think about this for a minute. If you're giving no authority to anybody and you're micromanaging everybody, then basically you're working twice as hard because you're making everybody dependent on you. So you've got to kind of find that right balance. And what I mean by that is, if over on this side is being a total micromanager and over here no accountability at all, where do you want to be on that management spectrum in terms of management style and accountability? I'm going to tell you the goal is to be somewhere in the middle. When I'm managing, I try to take the approach, I want to be fair, but I want to be firm. So again, I think that's a good place to be. Be in the middle, fair but firm. If you're too much of a micromanager, you're not giving anybody authority, everybody's too much dependent on you, and if you're way over here on the other spectrum, then everybody's just running wild. So fair but firm is a great place to be. Okay, again, I want to remind you what your goal is here. The goal is to build a team of franchise salespeople. I don't want people that are just closers. Yes, I can find them. I want people that can manage every aspect of the role. And in order to do that, some latitude of trust has to be given to your sales team. So I want to encourage you to be willing to give them a little trust, okay? Here's another challenge that I see. There are some managers that feel I have to manage every salesperson the same way. I'll say that again. They feel like they've got to manage every salesperson the same way, but that is really not the reality. I want you to remember, every salesperson is unique and different. They've got different strengths, weaknesses, and motivation. So, fear is not giving everybody the same thing. Fair is making sure that every salesperson has the right tools that they need to succeed. I'll say it again. Fair is making sure that everyone has the right tools they need to succeed, not necessarily treating everybody the same way. Okay. As you're establishing your leadership style and your performance management style, I want to encourage you to develop a culture of transparency. And what I mean by that is when it comes to everybody's individual goals, community goals, the key performance indicators and their CRM, I want to make you aware that all that stuff should be highly visible to the entire division. Don't be afraid to hang everybody's performance out there for everybody to see. In addition, don't be afraid to share things like margins and where the community is performing well and where they're not performing well. I have found over the years, the more transparent you are, the more the team learns. The more they learn, the more self-sufficient they become, the better franchise owners they also become. I want to leave you with another attribute. I want you to think about this for a moment. Great salespeople don't leave great companies. Great salespeople usually leave lousy managers. So I want to encourage you to be inspiring, be a visionary, be real, be human, be vulnerable, be approachable, and be empathetic to their needs. Have the ability to stand in their shoes and listen to their challenge. And a lot of sales managers think that success is having the salespeople doing what they're told. That's not the case. Success is your salespeople wanting to follow you because they see you as a visionary. They want to follow your leadership because they like the way you motivate them and the way you treat them, and that they're bought into that vision as you as the leader. Lastly, one of the other challenges that I see with this role, it's often what I call a sandwich role. meaning you're sandwiched between the sales team and sales management. So think about it. You're a subordinate, you're an equal, and you're a supervisor, right? And you're responding many times to the demand of upper management and often handling requests from the team below you, or you're executing orders from up above. So I want to prepare you for this, that it does take a little bit of a balancing act sometimes. And sometimes as a sales manager, the best thing that you can do is be a buffer to the sales team. The sales team doesn't need to know every little nuance of what's going on in upper management. But the secret sauce to this is first knowing it and knowing to expect it. Lastly, I am going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there are times where this role is purely going to feel overwhelming to you. What I want to encourage you to do is I firmly believe that every great sales manager should have a mentor. That's right, you should have a mentor. Get out there, find somebody that's been in the role before. Maybe it's a division president, maybe it's even somebody outside the company. You need somebody that you can bounce challenges off, bounce ideas off to give you confidence. And having a mentor is really a wonderful, wonderful thing that you can lean on and rely on. So lastly, if I can leave you with any final words, it's this. Be confident, be real, be approachable. As I said earlier, be fair, but be firm. Ultimately, you want to be a role model and a teacher, and you want to aspire your team to be the very best that you can be, and the very best that they can be. And lastly, make it fun. Without fun, nobody wins. Get out there and be the best you can be. Thanks for watching.